Why didn't you ever tell me she was mine? The question tore through the hospital room like a thunderclap, raw, desperate, and shaking with 6 years of silence. Emily's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her body was weak, her voice softer than usual, but inside, she was on fire. Regret burned in her chest, guilt twisted in her gut, and somewhere beneath all of that, the terrifying flicker of hope, one she had buried years ago. Across the room, Daniel stood frozen, the ring still clenched in his hand, his eyes wide with something between fury and grief. He looked at her, not like a man seeing a lost love, but like a father being introduced to his child far too late. And Lily, innocent kind, brave Lily, was about to learn the truth that could either shatter her world or change it forever. You think you've seen emotional stories before? Stay with us, because what happens next will leave you breathless and maybe even change the way you look at love, loss, and second chances. Rain lashed against the cracked windows of apartment 403 at Little Oak Apartments. Inside, 5-year-old Lily Carter sat curled on the floor, her tiny arms wrapped around her knees, listening to the rasping coughs coming from the next room. Her mother, Emily, hadn't eaten in 2 days, and the fever wasn't breaking. The doctor at the free clinic had given them a prescription, but no meds. No money meant no medicine. Lily had seen her mom sick before, but never like this. Her skin had turned pale and waxy, and her breath sounded like it hurt just to take in. The worst part, Emily still smiled at her, still said, "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just need to rest." But Lily wasn't a baby. She knew what lies tasted like. So she did something she never dared do before. She climbed onto a chair, reached for the old shelf where her mother kept papers and envelopes, and started digging. She was looking for a coin, anything. But what she found was far more interesting. A small wooden box had fallen from the stack. Lily opened it and gasped. Inside was a gold ring, delicate and shining, even in the dim light. A pale blue sapphire gleamed from its center. She held it up to the window, squinting. There were letters carved on the inside. Emily Whitmore. Lily's heart fluttered. Her mother had a different last name. Who was Whitmore? And why was this ring hidden? A storm brewed in her chest. But one thing was clear. That ring had to be worth something. Maybe enough to buy medicine. She slipped it into the tiny pocket of her red raincoat. Before she left, she took a crayon and scribbled on a scrap of paper. "I'm going to save you, Mommy. I'll be back soon. Love, Lily." She placed it on the kitchen table, barely able to reach. Emily stirred slightly in bed as Lily crept to the door. The girl hesitated. Her mom always said, "Never go outside alone." But rules didn't matter when your world was falling apart. She took a deep breath and stepped into the cold. The rain had slowed, but the streets of Maplewood still glistened under gray skies. Lily's boots slapped against puddles. She didn't know where to go, but she walked. Past closed shops, fast food joints, people too busy to notice a soaked little girl wandering alone. In the town square, she paused under a bus shelter, shivering. Her fingers brushed the ring inside her pocket. Then she saw him. A tall man in a tailored gray coat, dark hair flecked with silver, at the temple's leather briefcase in one hand, checking his watch with the other. His face was handsome but serious, like someone who had forgotten how to smile. That man looked rich. Lily ran up to him. "Sir," her voice was small but firm. "Please, give me any money you can. My mommy's sick. I need to save her." The man blinked. I'm sorry," he said stiffly, trying to move past. She reached out, her palm open, revealing the ring. "It's worth something. You can take it. Just help me." He took the ring absently and then froze. His hand trembled as he turned it in the light. "Emily Whitmore," he whispered. His chest tightened. The sapphire, the engraving, the memory. That ring. It was real. After all these years. Daniel Whitmore nearly dropped it. He turned sharply and stared at the girl. Wavy brown hair, serious green eyes, and a familiar stubborn set to her jaw. Something inside him cracked. "What's your name?" he asked, barely above a whisper. "Lily. Lily Carter. And your mom?" "Her name is Emily Carter. She's really sick." Daniel swallowed. He knew that name, that voice, that girl. It couldn't be. Could it? His legs moved before his brain gave permission. "Take me to her," he said. "Please." Lily hesitated. "You know my mom? I used to," he said quietly. a long time ago. They walked together in silence, her small hand in his past the shops and rainy sidewalks. As they neared Little Oak Apartments, Daniel felt his chest tighten. The place was falling apart, peeling paint, rusted railing. He remembered a time when Emily dreamt of building her own design firm. What had happened inside the apartment? The light was dim, and the air heavy with dampness and cough syrup. A note lay crumpled on the table. Daniel picked it up and read the childish scrawl. "I'm going to save you, Mommy." His hands shook. "She's in there," Lily said, pointing to the bedroom. Daniel pushed the door open. Emily lay motionless, her skin pale, sweat on her brow. She stirred faintly. "Lily." She opened her eyes, her vision blurred, then focused, and then she froze. "Daniel." He stepped inside. For a moment, no one moved. The silence was thunderous. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, trying to sit up. "I didn't plan to be," he admitted. "Lily found me. With this." He held up the ring. Emily's eyes welled with tears, but she turned away. "I was going to sell it," Lily said. "For your medicine," Emily's voice cracked. "Sweetheart." "No." "I'll take care of it," Daniel said. "You need a doctor, a real hospital." "No," Emily said sharply. "We can't afford, I'm not asking." He knelt beside the bed. "Let me help." She looked at him for a long moment. The man she had once loved, the man who had broken her. Was she really ready to open that door again? In that silence, she heard Lily's cough behind them. Emily's wall cracked. "Fine," she whispered. "Just for her." "Good." Daniel turned to Lily. "Pack a bag for Mommy, okay?" Lily darted off. As Emily lay back down, her eyes fluttered closed. Daniel watched her chest rise and fall, her frail frame barely a shadow of the fierce woman he remembered. In that moment, he knew he wasn't leaving this time. He didn't even know the full story yet, but he was about to find out. Before we continue to the next part of this emotional journey, I just want to say thank you for following Lily's story so far. If you were in Emily's place, would you let the past back into your life for the sake of your child? Let us know in the comments. And if this story touched your heart, please hit the like button and share it with someone who believes in second chances. The hallway outside the hospital room felt colder than it should have. Daniel stood beside the door, hands stuffed into his coat pockets, eyes flicking to the floor as nurses passed. Inside, Emily was resting after IV fluids, and medication had brought her fever down. Lily sat quietly in a plastic chair, swinging her legs and clutching a juice box. Daniel couldn't stop replaying the last few hours. The way she looked at him, shocked, hollow, guarded. The way her lips trembled when she whispered his name. And the way Lily had smiled at him. Like she trusted him without knowing who he really was. He couldn't stop shaking. Not from the cold. He was almost certain now. Lily wasn't just any little girl. She was his daughter. But Emily hadn't said it out loud. Not yet. He took a deep breath and stepped back inside the room. Emily was awake, propped up slightly. Her cheeks still pale, but she had more color now. Her eyes met his, calm but unreadable. "You stayed," she said quietly. "I told Lily I would." Silence stretched between them like a tight rope. "She doesn't know," he said at last, voice low. "Does she?" Emily didn't answer. Instead, she looked over at her daughter, who was now dozing off in the chair. Then she turned back to him. "No," she whispered. "She doesn't." Daniel swallowed hard. "Why?" Emily blinked slowly, then looked away. "Because you left. Because I was angry. Because I was scared. I thought maybe it was better for her not to know. You thought I wouldn't want her? I thought you wouldn't choose her." She snapped louder than she meant to. Lily stirred slightly and they both fell silent. Then in a trembling voice, Emily added, "I was already invisible to you by the end. One more person depending on you. You would have disappeared." Daniel felt like the air had been knocked from his lungs. "That's not fair." "No, it's not," she whispered bitterly. "None of this is." He stepped closer, his voice tightening. "Emily, I didn't know, I swear. If I had, you would have come back," she cut in, staring at him. "Really, between your 20-hour workdays and client dinners and luxury vacations, you would have come back to a rundown apartment and a baby crying at 3 a.m. Daniel opened his mouth, but he had no answer. Not a real one. The past was there, standing between them like a wall neither of them knew how to climb. The betrayal, the pride, the years. I didn't just keep her from you, Daniel, Emily said, her voice cracking. I kept you from her, and I hate myself for that. He stepped back, heart thudding. So she is mine. Emily looked up at him, pain etched across her face. Yes, she said, she's yours. He sat down heavily in the chair beside her bed. His hands covered his face. I missed her first steps, her first words, her first day of school. I missed all of that too, Emily whispered, because I was working 3 jobs and still choosing between food and rent. I would have helped, he said, voice breaking. If I'd known. But you didn't, she said simply. And I didn't tell you. The door creaked open. A nurse peeked in, checked the monitors, and left without a word. The silence that followed was unbearable. Then came the sound of a soft rustle. Lily was stirring. I need to tell her, Daniel whispered. She deserves the truth. Not like this, Emily said quickly. Not here. Not yet. He nodded reluctantly, but his eyes burned with unspoken words. Suddenly they heard something, footsteps, a faint creak. Emily turned toward the hallway. Lily, she called. No answer. They both stood up fast. The chair was empty. The juice box was on the floor. The blanket had slipped off the armrest. Daniel rushed to the door. Nothing. The hallway was empty. Maybe she went to the bathroom, he suggested, already knowing that wasn't true. Then Emily saw it. Her daughter's green backpack was gone, and the emergency exit at the end of the corridor was slightly ajar. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She heard us. Daniel's stomach dropped. Oh, God. They ran. Down the hall, through the stairwell. Nurses called after them, but no one stopped. Outside, the rain had returned colder now, slanting sideways with the wind. Emily's shoes splashed through puddles. Her fever had left her dizzy, but adrenaline pushed her forward. She's just a child. What if she gets lost? She's smart, Daniel said, scanning every street corner. But she's scared. They ran past intersections, searched sidewalks, checked bus stops. Each time they saw a small figure, their hope lifted, then crashed again. Then Daniel stopped suddenly. He turned toward the town square. She might have gone back, he whispered, to where she found me. And she had. Huddled on a bench beneath the old town clock, soaked to the bone, Lily clutched the stuffed bear in one hand and the sapphire ring in the other. Her eyes were swollen, her lips trembling. When she saw them, she didn't run. She didn't speak. Emily knelt beside her. Sweetheart, oh my God. Why didn't you tell me? Lily asked quietly. That he's my dad. Emily froze. Daniel dropped beside her. I didn't know about you, he said. Not until today. Lily's bottom lip quivered. Are you mad at me? No, Daniel said, taking her hand. Never. Lily looked at Emily. Are you mad at him? Emily stared at the little girl between them. So brave, so fragile. She shook her head. No, she whispered. Not anymore. Lily blinked away tears. Can we go home now? Daniel lifted her gently in his arms. They walked through the rain together, 3 people bound by a broken past and maybe a shared future. Thank you for staying with us through this emotional chapter. Sometimes the truth arrives like a storm, but can healing begin the moment after? Do you believe that forgiveness is always possible, no matter how deep the hurt? Let us know in the comments, and if this story moved you, please like and share the video to help it reach more hearts. The rain had finally stopped. Outside the window of Emily's apartment, dawn broke in soft golds and muted grays, brushing the buildings with quiet light. Inside, a kettle whistled gently, while the scent of fresh coffee filled the air. Daniel stood in the kitchen, carefully pouring it into 2 mismatched mugs. He paused before taking the tray into the living room. Emily was curled up on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. Her eyes were open, watching Lily, who was still sleeping peacefully, one hand resting on her stuffed bear. For a moment, Daniel didn't speak. He just watched them quietly breathing in a scene that felt so far from the life he used to know, and yet more real than anything he'd built. I didn't sleep much, Emily said without turning. Me neither, Daniel replied. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her walking out into that rain. Emily pulled the blanket tighter around her. That's what terrified me most. She's strong, but I didn't realize how much she was already carrying. Daniel handed her a mug. She gets that strength from you. Emily looked down at the steaming cup, then up at him. You can stop trying to say the right things, Daniel. It's not about winning me over. He didn't flinch. I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to stay. They sat in silence, sipping quietly. And then in a voice almost too soft to hear, Emily asked, "What are you really doing here?" Daniel leaned forward. "I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know if you'll ever want me in your life again, but I know I want to be in Lily's. I missed 5 years. I don't want to miss one more day." Emily studied his face, searching for cracks in his conviction. There were none. "She's already started calling you Dad when she thinks I'm not listening," Emily said softly. Daniel's throat tightened. "I don't deserve that, but I'll earn it." Later that week, Daniel returned, not in a suit, not with briefcases or deadlines, but with grocery bags, a new drawing pad for Lily, and fresh flowers for the kitchen. Every morning he brought coffee. Every afternoon he helped with homework. He didn't push. He didn't ask for anything. He just showed up. And that Emily realized was what Lily needed most, what she had needed too. They moved into a new apartment 3 months later, a 2-bedroom with sunlight pouring through the windows and a small balcony where Lily planted daisies and coffee cans. Daniel offered to pay the full rent, but Emily insisted on contributing with the freelance design work she had slowly built back up. It wasn't perfect. They had arguments, hesitations, days when Emily still questioned whether she was making the right choice letting him back in. But then there were the moments that melted everything. Lily running into Daniel's arms after school, Emily watching the two of them cook dinner badly while she sketched at the kitchen table. Daniel showing up late at night just to leave soup on the doorstep when Emily had a cold. The night Lily drew a picture of a house, a tree, and 3 stick figures holding hands and wrote "My Family" underneath. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was honest, it was real, and it was enough. One warm Saturday evening, Daniel took Emily to a quiet Italian restaurant, not for anything extravagant, just dinner. Lily was staying with Mrs. Helen Carter next door, building blanket forts and telling stories about when I ran away and made Mommy cry. As they sat together, lit by candlelight and soft music, Daniel took a deep breath. "I have something to ask," he said. Emily raised an eyebrow. "You're not proposing, are you?" He chuckled. "No, that chapter of us. I'm not sure if it comes next, or ever. But I was hoping we could write a new one where we raise our daughter together, fully openly. Not in borrowed time or split weekends, but side by side." Emily looked away for a moment, then met his eyes. "You already are." He exhaled slowly. The words weren't romantic, but they were everything he needed. Back home that night, as Lily dozed off in bed, with a book still open across her chest, Daniel tucked her in and kissed her forehead. "Daddy," she mumbled. "Yeah, sweetheart, you're really staying, right?" He brushed a strand of hair from her face. "I'm not going anywhere." She smiled in her sleep. Emily stood in the doorway watching them. Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't the kind that burned. They healed. Months passed. Then a year. There were no grand speeches, no fairy tale reunions, just 3 people learning to be a family in the little ways that mattered most. And for once, none of them had to do it alone. Before we say goodbye for now, let me ask you something. Have you ever had to open your heart again to someone who once broke it? And do you believe that people can truly change, not just for themselves, but for the ones they love? We'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of this story? If you enjoyed it, please comment number 3 below. If you felt it was just okay, type number 2. And if you think it could be better, feel free to write number 1. We always welcome your feedback. Also, tell us what country are you watching from? And if this story touched your heart even a little, please give it a like, send a heart, and share it with someone who believes that healing is always possible.